Ah, the top Webtoon romances of 2020, or at least top moments before my channel got terminated. Yes, I'm just gonna still bring that up. I'm still bringing that up. Look, I had a channel, okay? I mean, I still have a channel. This is my channel right now. But, anything can happen. YouTube can just, they can destroy it all. They can just ruin it all. But I'm still here. And I have memories. I have memories when I had my channel before it was terminated. And I had so many Let's Reads. So many. And I had so many people, fans, that actually look up to these, Let's Reads. Look up to these kind of, especially the romances. And that was pretty big. There was literally no other genre that, really matched within the channel that I had. And but romance was always the one that actually had so many people come to my channel, so many people that know me, from this, at least online. So in the internet, I'm just known as the romance guy, I guess. But outside, I'm just a whole different person, or at least a lonely individual that seems to look at romance as a sense of a escape, I guess. And Webtoon is also another escape. It kind of got me out of my, depression, and just, warped me into another world. And, due to these tough times, as typical as it is, because everybody's saying, like, oh, 2020 sucks, because it does. It does suck, especially for me. I lost it all. At least I kind of feel like it. But I just want to share some moments. This is not only going to be a top 10 list, it's also going to be some moments that I had that I want to share when I was reading these webtoons that I'm about to talk about. And these were one of my favorites. And they really showed me a lot. And it's kind of depressing that it's all gone. So here it is. My top 10 webtoon romances that I read. Now, some of these came out like last year or the year after that. But personally, for me, this was the first year that I started Webtoon. And it was personally my experience of what I, witnessed when I was reading these stories, when I was, diving into the worlds of these, Webtoons. I want to talk about my experiences, what I feel when I did read these, what was the reaction that I had when reading these webtoons, and what was the what is my interest. Pretty much, this is a very tough list when it comes down to making top tens, basically, because it's just so undecisive. There's just so many webtoons. Okay, there's even too many romances, honestly. So it's kind of like hard for me to decide, and there's still new ones day after day that are still coming out. So apologies if I can't fit them all. Some of them I probably didn't read. Some of them that I didn't have interest, or some of them that I just didn't really. It just didn't come to me or come to my mind. Like I didn't have any remembrance of reading it. But in this list, I'm just gonna be talking about the top 10 um, webtoon romances that I personally enjoyed. And it's gonna be a surprise, or probably not, once you reach to the number one spot, which is definitely watch it all the way, because I just really want to give you my perspective on what is it like to really read all these webtoons. So here's the list, and let's start it off. Some audible mentions as well, to and pretty much ones that I read. uh you know I'm gonna be, putting a couple honorable mentions on the description below. But also, those honorable mentions are not in this list, and some of them I probably didn't read. Um, but other than that, let's begin. Let's talk about, and this is my personal favorite. These are my personal lists. You probably have a different opinion. Please understand that I know it's, it goes without saying, but sometimes people just don't really, you know, read between the text or read between my mouth as I'm explaining why these webtoons, these romances, really touch me. Okay? Or slap me in the face in some cases, but most of all, touch me in the heart. And yeah, we're about to begin. Number 10. For the number 10 spot. God, I just love saying that. Whenever I do like a top 10, I used to do a lot of top 10s back in the day. In the number 10 spot. Man, that was fun. We got green gold. Now, before anyone else, I can hear the comments. I can hear them. Green and gold, personally for me, was such a relaxing read. I will say that. It's so relaxing. I just love the dynamics and I like how the message is between when it comes down to LGBT and, kids experiencing that. And this kind of shares a good light of it. It kind of also feels educational in a way. And it feels like a walk in the park in a sense of a sunny day walk in the park of this webtoon because I just had so much happiness or in so much calm, in memories because, it's taking place like high school and boarding school. I used to go in boarding school. But this one set in a boarding school in Germany and pretty much we are introduced to like a good amount of friends that are, that basically made me miss me when I myself when it comes to hanging out with friends like somewhere around middle school and high school. We start to see these characters discover one each other and pretty much, just the youthfulness of them learning, I guess. Um, but I really enjoy Green Gold. It just brings that calm and light-hearted, feel whenever I read it. It's like a folk song in Irish landscape. And I just really enjoyed it. And Green Gold, for me personally, when it comes down to, you know, that educational route when of finding out yourself and especially the, character chemistry between a lot of these characters. And, there's a good amount, but there's also some, self-awareness between these, kids that just, going on in their lives, but still hasn't find themselves, and I'm pretty much still in the beginning of it. There's times where people kind of recommend me to actually check it out, and I'm like, whenever I always check it out, I always had this calmness. Whenever I read it, I guess, it's just I don't know. It takes me back. It's kind of like a flashback that is so bright, and that's why I kind of had to put it in this list. Next up for the number 9 spot is Anti-Stalker. I wasn't really I was actually planning to put this a little bit more higher, but Anti-Stalker for me, I just really like the action in this one. Could easily be like a shonen or pretty much basically like almost like the My Hero Academia of Webtoon. Actually that goes to unordinary. Forget what I said. Crap. But Anti-Stalker is such a badass like romance, honestly. I don't know. I just like the characters. I like the like comedic and also just violent flow within the grittiness of these characters, especially August. Kira and August, you can definitely sense like their relationship was about to build. At first, Kira, you would almost expect her to really reject August, but there's some love between them. And for this, academy that happens to be surrounded with vampires, werewolves, and of course humans and other things, then it's there's also a good amount of characters to actually discover and new ones to actually go around. We're just already mentioned with a lot of people that are pretty much not only an acquaintance of Kira and August, but then you start to discover a lot between them, and also just the situations and the mystery behind the school and between these characters as well, and just the character development that they have for each other. I really truly liked seeing Kira and August slowly build up to one each other, especially them, first being teens and then they're just, slowly becoming more of adults as they move on within their lives in this academy. Also, I like how this is not in, in Asia. This is not in like Korea or Japan, which is almost something that you expect in any anime or webtoon. But this one is actually set in Russia. You see the names like Sokolov or August Sokolov, or you know also the same between his names. I guess it's the names that make it Russian. And it was from a Russian individual that made this. So I like how it really stays true to the creator of making this. And it brings a whole different, spectrum and twist. Now, if it wasn't Korea and Japan, it would be kind of like typical. I'm like, okay, yeah, whatever. But no, it's not. It kind of shows that there's other places that it could be set on. So that's what I like about Anti-Stalker. And just the overall, like, every character has a role to play in every moment, whether it's especially within the action slash slapstick, can be funny, and also it's used properly as well. But overall, I really enjoy Anti-Stalker. When I first was introduced within the chapters, the first chapters of it, I got this almost like a Oran High School vibe. It kind of reminds me of it, except it's not really about because Oran High School is a harem, and this is nothing close to it. It's about these two characters, but they also are acquainted with them being like a committee or something that they're all a part of. I would have to say that this is such a good adventure to run into in Anti-Stalker, and I just like the coldness and the action behind it. Next up in the number 8 spot is Nice to Meet You. This one is just a cutesy kind of, read that I remember reading. I just like how uh, just our main character is just, slowly trying to know, at first I really got confused, like, okay, this, she love him or not, or this and that. But it's a cutesy kind of design in the animation is just cute. That's how I would say. And I just also like how the characters, when they really build up, they try to you couldn't even tell if they're friends or beginning to be almost like a couple. And there's some situations that this main character, the girl, that happens to go through, that she doesn't know, and happens to have a lot of friends to back her up. And it kind of reminded me of my ways of knowing, backing your friends up and stuff like that, especially protecting the women and protecting whoever is not the strongest in your group. I really do enjoy Nice to Meet You. Also, I heard that one of a top creator in Webtoon was also inspired because of Nice to Meet You, but it deserves the credit. I just love how this couple really, the doorness and just the sudden blushes that they feel for each other. I just really, I just like that kind of vibe within it. And also, there's a lot of characters with hoodies, and I love me some hoodies, especially right now since it's so freaking cold. But yeah, this one is just a cutesy kind of animation. It's so different. I never seen an animation like this before. It kind of has a mixture between Astro Boy and some kind of manga, but this is such a different animation that I've never seen. And whenever I think of Webtoon, it always brings me to this for some reason. I don't know. I just really like it. I like the characters as well, and how they play off with each other, how they interact, and how there's almost like a set focus of the main couple, on and off, and pretty much you have other characters popping in and out, and it just brings a whole different kind of vibe. And the comedy is pretty chill as well. Other than that, Nice to Meet You is I would recommend checking out. It's a comfy read. It's a very comfy read. Next up on the number 7 spot goes to Mystical. Now, I wasn't really planning to really. Actually, then again, I would say the same for all of these webtoons, because Mystical is truly mystical. It's just magical. It's just I remember seeing it, it brightened my eyes, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is way too bright. The colors were just flowing and just taken from an artist, almost as if it was from a real person that really told this. But it would be crazy if it was from a real person, because this is basically about an alien, not down to earth, but it's this orb thing that turns into a human girl, and this magical awakening just all of a sudden fillers the whole entire screen, and I'm just like, what is happening? it's such a magical kind of like read, and then you start to discover most a lot of how the main character really tries to take care of this creature and where she comes from, just the mystery of that. I just really like those kinds of reads, and also how the relationship is almost bouncy, off each other. In a sense, it's so majestic and mystical. Like I said, the word mystical is played a lot within this. It's artsy, it's an artistic kind of like webtoon, and I really do like the alien character. It's almost like an angel mixed with it, some kind of alien Martian or something, like something weird like that. But it flows in pretty nice, especially seeing how he takes care of her and really tries to make this like I don't know, like it doesn't really start off like too much of a like relationship, but you can tell like it's almost beginning to be something surrounding that spectrum of how these characters find their chemistry for each other. And I just really like the magical whimsical vibes that it gives me, especially in, it doesn't need to be fairy tale-ish, or historically like, Victorian, but it can be like the mystical vibe of it is so different from your usual. Like it definitely is within the character and what powers that, she has. And all focus around this one character. And it's almost like this sense of solitude when you see this character, living in this house from what I feel like is somewhat haunted. I don't know. There was some scary moments when I remember seeing this, mind you. But yeah, definitely, this mystical is something that, is artistic and just so valuable looking. I just had to say. And the number six spot, I just had to put this. When I think about the funniest kind of webtoon that I read, I have to give it to Mage and Demon Queen. I love Mage and Demon Queen. It is so good. It is so good. I really had a good time really, you know, reading Mage and Demon Queen, understanding the characters, understanding where they at, how they really, you know, like how this, whole relationship started, how the characters react to it. It's a good GL. I think one of the best because it has comedy, it has adventure. It almost has like a, you know, what's that genre called? Slay slash hack and slash feel. Like if this was a video game, it would be so dope. It's kind of like the Diablo of webtoon because I had so much fun really reading this. It's almost like I'm at another adventure whenever a new chapter comes out and you start to recognize these other characters and also, as they're introduced, you start to see their little funny, quips of who they are. I just really enjoy that. This one happens to be almost centered around within like the ancient times of, in a fictional world in Faustina. And I really like the world building of this, the monsters within their own island. And then also how it's like in a isekai, like in somewhat like a video game-ish, and it plays that very well, giving it like a sword on art online feel. It's so anime and it's so well done. I had so many good moments of reading it, and I kind of build an audience based around Mage and Demon Queen, especially surrounding the two couple. Um, Val and Mallory. It's just I don't know. I just really enjoy like the relationship and how they really try to discover each other and how they're like almost beginning to like and it doesn't go real too quick within the love chemistry. There's this sense of like finding out who you are the more they try to discover for each other, and I love that chemistry when it comes to romance, especially Sarek is getting something, and I love Sarek. I love mentioning him. I love having fun with him. Doing the let's reads with Mage and Demon Queen will always be in my heart of one of the most hilarious. Okay, and it is such a funny and action packed read. Number five spots is a questionable one because this one is the one I have to be careful with because I did get trouble actually reading this and I got strikes from it. Okay, so in the number five spot is Choco Latte. The fact that there's a webtoon where there's no dialogue and it has so much more connection and cute valuableness to it. I just how can you beat that? Like Anne made something that there's no dialogue other than text. There is text, but there's no dialogue. But still, the characters and the you just see this brightness of perfection and cuteness of these two freaking characters. I don't understand you kids. Like how you do it, but also I will never forget of giving voices to these characters when I was doing my let's reads of this. Oh, it was the best kind of thing that ever happened within my let's read. It's basically what made me do more, because for something like this that has no voice, someone has to give them the voice, and I basically did a full improv of so many episodes of Choco Latte, of doing all the voices for them. Hello, how you doing? Oh my goodness, how you like giving them accents, giving them voices. Like I just had such a good time really, creating characters for these, within these characters, within my own voice and within my own ways of seeing where the story goes. And you kind of have to predict of where you go within these different characters, but it's just so funny. It's so funny, like the way I just try to bounce around and knowing where they at, and sometimes I get it wrong and I screw it up, and then I start again with it, but I can't because I'm already recording. Like so many good moments within Chocolate. I really like how it reaches the dialogue of knowing, the character's past without giving dialogue, but understanding who they are as a person, especially the connection and also the moments within Chocolate. It seems real, but it also seems so perfect in a way. But man, I really enjoyed this manhwa despite it being, the one thing that would take down my channel, because I'm definitely not going to be making any more content of Chocolate, but still, um, I really enjoyed it. It is something that still made good memories of doing these Let's Reads. It gave it an interesting twist. Next up on the number 4 spot is basically a webtoon that I really try to find any kind of like other example of it, but is this one, it seems to be somewhat almost like original until we get to the other ones. But Back to You is such a deep and also understandable kind of like sad webtoon, because you can only imagine going back to the past and meeting someone that you love and seeing them go. Like can you imagine the full sadness of that situation? But I never really thought of that when I seen Back to You. It wasn't really my biggest kind of reads or biggest favorites out there, but it was something that it was an idea that I definitely see so much potential in, and so much, value within, the character, how what she's going through in this situation. Basically having this flow of just sadness and also unforgettableness between Back to You. When my first reads of seeing it, it was just one of the most unexpected kind of reads I ever did. And Back to You is a manhwa that is, just kind of just within my favorites of knowing what the characters go through and having that, connection between the other character that was long gone. And I'm trying my best not to spoil it, because the only way I can really give you a reason why I really truly like this webtoon is if I try to spoil it, but I just can't. You gotta see it for yourself. There are some, just shocking moments to it where I'm just like, how did this happen? What is going on? And it just almost bring this like illusion world building between in her mindset. Like you can't even tell if like she's controlling this or who's controlling this or what's going on with the narrative or how you guys save this person. Like it's almost like she's playing as the hero, the main character. And also this isolation feel that you get with it. It's something that is so real. And that's why I feel like, Back to You, I just had to put it in the list. And it just seems so deep the more I think about it. For the number 3 spot, now let's be honest. Let's be honest. To all the ones that are sub to my channel and sub to my other channel, the majority, this webtoon basically switched my whole entire audience to the point where I'm really like, what happened? And that happens to be Down to Earth. Not to say that's not a bad thing. Like I don't know how I got like 300 followers a day, I was scared. I was scared. I was like, oh crap, I'm about to hit 10K literally in 2 weeks. But until that's when my channel got terminated. But I guarantee you, if I was wanting to get more, but of course I can't do Let's Reads anymore. I would have to make more down to earth kind of content, which I'm still in the works on because I do want to get my audience back. But holy crap! So this is the series. This is the series that got me to 1K in the first place, and in such a quick manner because of how cute and just kind of like I just love this sci-fi kind of vibe that it gives, and also how it just feels like something you would see in like Hot Topic. It's kind of like such an iconic romance within Webtoon. And there are so many people that I never thought that was into romance that are coming to my channel. It's like, what? You're into romance? You're into romance? Like, it's just such an unexpected audience that I've never seen before. Like, how did this happen? But for Down to Earth, the character chemistry and finding out who, the way they learn from each other, and just the good times of especially all the heartbreaks that that goes on and goes off, and pretty much the unexpectedness, and the characters that are introduced within this webtoon is gold. It is priceless. I mean, it is such, like, I don't know, like, even though due to the quality itself you can something, but it's that doesn't matter when it comes down to like just a good you know love connection that is slowly building from a character that doesn't really feel like your typical kind of like love character itself, due to how lonely he, or just like grumpy he is. But then you start to see him flourish because of Zeta, because of probably Ethan, because of maybe the manager, and also the person that he's working with, these other girls that was around him, especially Ellie's arc. That was so deep. That was such a deep and emotional kind of turn, because you just feel that. You just feel that. And Kate is like, what? And I'm just like, damn it, Kate. And Kate slowly understands these characters, and especially with Zeta, is going to be such an interesting turn between these characters. I especially love it how it doesn't rush into the whole romance spectrum, kind of like the same thing with Majestic. But this one seems to be make more astronomically better, because you can definitely see that Kate really truly cares, like he has a heart. And slowly they develop, and I just love how this story flourished, and I can understand why that so many of you guys watching are really obsessed with this series, which I got, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. But my goodness, Down to Earth is truly the best in Earth ever. Yes, I am surprised too. Down to Earth is not in your number one. I know. But the second one, and this first one would make sense because of how I am as a person. But the second one in the second spot killed me. Well, actually, not literally, but it basically blew me away. It blew me away to the point where I don't even know anymore. I don't know where the story would go, but it literally almost left me in tears. I have never, and after reading it, it kind of got me. That, and I was thinking about it, I was like, damn, that really got me in tears. I'm talking about See You in My 19th Life. That this webtoon made me cry whenever I think about it, because how unbelievably, like, I don't know what expectation would it go. You kind of expect her, you kind of see the signs between this and that, but not really, because you never expect a scene like that. And I can't spoil it. That's the thing that sucks, that I can't spoil it, because I want you guys to check it out for yourselves and read it all through to actually get a good glimpse and a good perspective of what I see when I was in my feelings in this read, because it is just so deep. It cuts deep. But then again, it really finds a way just to get out of that by giving you the story of that. It's just flourishing. It's just so deep, and it's just like what is happening? Like, I don't know. I will never forget this romance. Okay? And I never expected to be in the list because of how soon it is. But those 3 chapters that I read in this one and See You in My 19th Life was the most deepest kind of webtoon read that I have ever witnessed. Ever. Okay, I don't read much, but it is so deep. Okay, and you can see this happiness in the beginning of it, but then it goes into a whole nother whole nother world between its own narrative, and I just really enjoy it. I really recommend other people to check it out because I was so good at this. Oh man, it got me. I'll just say that. I mean, I never witnessed something like this before, but I can't stop gushing over it. But speaking of gushing, oh, oh, you know how to bring the number one spot. You know how to bring the number one spot. I have to say this, okay? I had such I had such a good time. Literally, my whole entire channel was in another country, basically, because of this series. I never seen that before. I never seen my channel like really, and it was one of my biggest series, and I really missed that audience. And I'm talking about the Kiss Bed. Welcome to the Kiss Bed. Oh, welcome to the Kiss Bed. I mean, oh God, I love that song. I made at least three songs. And pretty much, the creator of the Kiss Bed actually literally commented me and followed my channel until it got terminated, of course. But those were the best times I had reading this, and it's such an adorable kind of like, it also gives me flashbacks between it because I just love a good old, I guess, somewhat like an American slash Mexican, Latin American almost vibe within this webtoon. You can see that, good old Ingrid, that is the creator of this, really puts it in her perspective of, like I guess in high school, and also the line of life and what is like in that, especially in our times. It's almost like I swear Sarah Lynn is Ingrid. I just know there's a connection between these two characters. I just know it is. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised. But for this one, it is such an amazing, adorable, and also how it really develops time after time. I'm definitely expecting to see more of this, more in the future. And I really like the design. I like the coloring and the shading between all the different panels of art of this. Like each panel has its unique, background, unique like, character look. And I just like how there's just like so many characters to be, to reveal of, during all this, especially understanding who like Patrick is. You get an arc on that, especially on you get Sarah Lynn's arc a lot. You get Subway Boy, that you get to understand him a bit more. And also, especially during that season finale, that really was a good way to actually end it. It's a clever way too. And I really enjoyed the Kiss Bed. I just had a good time. I just feel like my channel is somewhat, based around this series almost because of how much I enjoyed it. That and also down to earth. But other than that, the Kiss Bed is my favorite series. I made a couple songs of it, and also Ingrid watched it, and also the Kiss Bed fandom basically came to my channel cheering for me as I'm reading it, and it just feels like a whole different event. It hits different when you have that kind of audience, and one of my most entertaining reads was the Kiss Bed, and each like episode that I go through, like it just gets deeper and deeper. Like I just enjoy the love of the Kismet and how much it brings to me, and I will always miss those moments because sadly I can't get it back. Despite my channel gone, despite this year sucking, despite my life, swirling to nuttiness and depression as I'm going through right now. These webtoons, these reads, these moments that I had will always carry with me. I may lost something that was going to be basically my future, but I'm always going to come back up, strong because I can take it. I can handle it. I don't know. Whenever now thinking about these 10 reads, I'm about to cry now. Um I can never forget about those moments that I had. It's just so deep, and just the people that I had. I had like, so many people like I went through my life, you know, finding something happiness and I couldn't, but until I found you, and that that touched me. That made me happy. Oh, ooh. But yeah, thank you guys. hopefully next year there will be a comeback, and hopefully my future will be much more clearer. And that's another thing within the kiss bed. The moment that Sarah Lynn found her future and what she wanted to be, she was almost in tears, and that's almost like me when I found out that, oh, I can be something big, something that is within who I am. And that's when I found Webtoon. That's when I found Wattpad. That's when I found writing and doing all these writing classes and really fixing up my future. But time can only tell. Other than that, thank you guys for watching. Hope you have a good night. I know it's time for me to good night, but other than that, um, Happy New Year. It may not be happy, but we can try to be, because in deep inside, I'm happy. I'm happy that you're here. I'll see you guys. Stay safe. One love. Peace. Oakland Rippin'. We out.